Hey everybody, welcome back to a video. In this one, we're going to be learning about buttons. So let's get started. So basically, what does button mean? So button actually just is used for clicking purposes and triggering actions. So it kind of makes sense because the name itself is a button. So let's see an example using how button works. So first, I already imported my tkinter module and then also created my windows. And now I'm gonna have my button code. So first I have to have a variable named button. You can name it anything you want, but I'm gonna name button because it kind of makes more sense. And then I'm gonna have something called button of parentheses. So this is already defined with the tkinter module if you import it, and that's how this thing works. And if you don't import the tkinter module, this is basically not gonna work for you guys. So first, let's have our arguments in this. So the window is the window which I want to access, and then have my text. So this is basically gonna be inside the button. I'm just gonna put hello something, that's it, hello, and let me just type world so that it doesn't look kind of plain. And now we have our arguments inside this. Now if I were to run this, it's not gonna give us any button. So let me just run this real quick, and then let's just wait for the output. So it didn't give us any button. If you see anywhere like there, anywhere, you can't see the button because it doesn't appear right now. So if you want the button to appear, you have to do button.pack. So if you saw my labels video, you would understand what this pack mean. But still, I'm gonna recap for you guys. So pack actually puts this thing in the middle. So let me just run this to show you guys the output. So it's gonna put the button in the middle. So it's in the middle right now. So as you see, it's still in the middle. So that's how this thing works. At the top middle, I mean, and not in the middle of the window. It's basically gonna be at the top middle. And if you don't want it a specific spot, for that you can just use something called place and then have your coordinates. I'm gonna have x equals 0 and y equals 0, which means it's gonna be at the top left. So let me run this real quick, and then it's gonna give the button at the top left corner. So as you see, it gave us a top left corner, and this button is also clickable. So let me just click it. So you see the difference kind of, and you're not gonna see if you're using a phone or something because it's kind of small, I'll say. So we're gonna increase the size later on this video. So first, let's increase the size. So you can increase the size by doing everything and stuff, but I recommend you guys just using comma right there and then enter a space. Now you can increase the font. So let me just increase the font real quick, and then have my parentheses. So this is basically going to increase the size and everything and stuff. So I'll have parameters inside this. So the first parameter is going to be the font style, which I'm going to keep it plain, which is Arial, and then have the font size of probably 100, and then also give it a bold look because that would be a bit better. And now if I were to run this, it's gonna give us the font size of the specific things we gave. So let's just run this. As you see, kind of gave us in the middle or something. I don't know what to say because I put in the place. So let me just put in the pack so that we can understand. And let me just remove that. So if I were to run this, it's gonna give us a bit bigger window. So let's just run this real quick, and there we go. We got a bigger window, and this is all a button, you know. I'm gonna prove you guys that this is all a button because you see something kind of like a line right there. So, and I can click it too. So you can see the difference that this is a button, right? So that's how we can know this is a button. So first, to make it clear, I'm gonna make this color different. So first I'm gonna have my background and then have something like black or something, and then also have my text color, which is foreground. I'm just gonna keep FG, and then have a text color of probably white because black and white can be almost visible. So let me just run this real quick, and then it's gonna give us the output of the specific things we gave. So there we go, we got a button of the specific style. So hello world, and we have a button, and it's kind of big to say, so let me just decrease the size a lot. So let me just keep like 60, and then let me just run this because the size is a lot. So I just run this and it should give us a specific small size. So yeah, this is a lot better. So that's how you can create buttons. Now let's see how do you add borders to it. So borders to these buttons kind of doesn't make sense because you cannot see it that much. So but still we're gonna try to add it. So first I'm gonna have relief and then have something called some type of border. So I'm just gonna have something like groove or something, and then have anything, and then have my border BD equals, and then I'm gonna put in a specific size so that to be visible clearly. I'm probably gonna put 25, or else if you don't put it, it's gonna be by default 1, and you basically most likely to see it. So we have our border 25. So if I were to run this, it's gonna give us the specific border size. So as you see, we got a button of the specific border size. So there we go. And it's kind of visible right now, but if I give 10 or something, it's probably not gonna be that visible. And it kind of depends on the text too. And you can also pad these, so let me just pad these. So first let me just delete that A because I mistyped there, and then have my pad X, and then this basically gonna pad it. I'm gonna keep 10 right there, and pad Y, it's gonna keep 10 too right there. So that's how you can do padding. So padding is nothing but the spaces between the X and Y parts, so it's kind of a bit spacious right here and right here. So that's what padding does. And this is still a button, and this is still a button, because if I were to click this, as you see, it still works. But whenever we click this, it's kind of bad because you see, like, the text is black and the background is white, so we don't want that. You can even change that. So first you have to do something like this. You have to have something called active background. So whenever you click it, which means it's active, it's gonna do the specific thing or have the specific color. So I'm just gonna have something like, let's just take a black still, and then also have active foreground. Active foreground is nothing but the color of it, so let me just have active foreground of, let's say, white. And now if I were to run this, it's gonna give us the specific active background and active foreground. So let me just run this. So it's still the same, you see, because it's still the same because I put the same thing, black and white, and my background and everything is black and white too. So that's why this thing are still the same. You can change it to any color you want, so feel free to do that. So that's how you can change active background and everything. And there's another way instead of doing all these. So instead you can just do something like this. So let me just delete it. And then here you can just say button.config. So this, and then have your background right there. So background equals some specific color. Let me just keep black. So you can even do that. So if I were to run this, it's gonna give us that specific color. So let me just run this real quick. It's still gonna work for us. So you see we got a button, and you can change the text color, everything and stuff. So you can do whatever you want with this, but I'll recommend you guys doing this one because you can see clearly what you're applying. And .config is gonna change the always because you have to do copy, paste, and everything and stuff. So I'd recommend you guys doing this one. So we have our active background and active foreground. So that's how you can do with these buttons and everything. And now let's see something called state. So state is nothing but it's just gonna define the state. So let me just put state right there and then put a state. So let me just keep disable for now. So if whenever you keep disable, you cannot click it. So let me just run this real quick. And whenever I run this, you cannot click it. Like, what I mean by you cannot is, like, you see the color. See, I'm not even, I'm trying to click and it's not letting me click. So if I were to disable or remove this part, and then it's gonna work for us back again. So dealing with state is a lot hard, and sometimes you need state because whenever you reach a specific amount, you can just disable the state using the if else statement or something. So and now I can click it back again. So we can click it back again. So that's how this thing works, and you can do many stuff with these, so feel free to change any part of the code. So I guess that's it for today's video. See you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.